It's 7 minutes past 7. Well, should Australia spend more money fighting terrorism in Pakistan? It's become the new focus of the war in terror after this week's attack on the Sri Lankan cricket team. Last month, the federal government increased aid to Pakistan. We've also agreed to train more of their army officers. But is that enough?
Well, let's ask our big guns of politics, the Leader of Government Business, Anthony Albanese, and Shadow Treasurer Joe Hockey. Good morning to both of you.
Morning.
Anthony, if I can start with you, can we afford to spend more money fighting the war in Pakistan, and can we afford not to?
Well, I think it's pretty clear that we can't afford to ignore the war on terrorism. The actions this week, I think, have shocked everyone. The fact that cricketers... I remember there was a debate a while ago about whether Australia should go or not, and some people saying, cricketers will be safe, they'll be left alone, because anyone who's been to the subcontinent knows that it's phenomenal, the kids in the street, and everyone's just obsessed by cricket. This week shows just how bad it can get when cricketers can be targeted. And I think we have to consider any proposals put forward by the governments of Pakistan and other regimes of which we have good relations on its merits, and be prepared to do our bit.
Okay. Joe, the Australian umpires involved in this were saying they were basically set up, they believe, left high and dry when the attacks took place. Did the Pakistani government drop the ball on this? Can they be trusted with security?
Well, it's a good question. If terrorists don't care when they kill women and children, why would they care about killing cricketers? That's a fundamental point. The terrorists are indiscriminate. They have no regard for status. They have no regard for the conventions of life.
But they were just allowed to waltz away, as we're seeing here.
It's
no pressure
amazing
at all.
footage, isn't it? Yeah.
The Pakistani government, can they be trusted with security?
Well, it certainly appears that the Pakistani government can't be trusted with the security of visiting officials, and they need to prove to the world that Pakistan can be trusted as a safe place to visit. And that's the great dilemma for them. They've now had a very public display of their failure in security. The Pakistani government, which we support, and we're a unity ticket with the government, we need to shore up this Pakistani government. But it can no longer be trusted by the world as being able to provide adequate security for visiting officials.
Then looking at the wider region, Anthony, New Delhi, Com Games next year, would the government go so far as to advise our athletes not to go there?
Oh, look, we'll make assessments at the time. We constantly are in dialogue with the sporting organisations, be it the Australian Olympic Committee or the Cricket Association or what have you. We also give travel advisory, of course, to individuals. And Pakistan, for example, is on the second level of warning at the moment. Basically, if you don't have to go there, it's probably wise for you not to.
But if the Commonwealth Games were happening now and the Cricket World Cup, would you send Australian teams or not?
Well, that would be a decision for the government, but I would have thought that we'd be pretty cautious, I've got to say. We'd be pretty cautious.
Joe, would you send them?
Well, look, it depends on the security threats. And look, we're not privy, the government's not privy at the moment to all the potential risks. And you never know. Look, this is an area where the opposition and the government are always united about the warnings to travellers, Australian travellers, and obviously you rely on intelligence. That's a fundamental thing at the time.
And it's important, clearly, that over the next year every effort be made to shore up security in the region.
All right, let's talk about the $42 billion stimulus package. The money's about to start hitting bank accounts,
Yes,
Anthony.
indeed.
Would you consider a third stimulus package?
Well, we've said we'll do what is necessary. We can't just sit back and watch the impact of the global financial crisis. We do have to act. The second stimulus package is about to hit, but there's also a bit of a lag, of course, from the first stimulus package, and many of the infrastructure measures, for example, will take months to come through. We've got community infrastructure being rolled out at the moment. I've been running around the country making those announcements this week.
Okay. But the first stimulus package didn't keep us out of the first leg of a recession. Joe, do you reckon the second one will?
No. And Paul Keating, you know, it sounds a little weird me to quote Paul Keating here, but Paul Keating said overnight that the first two packages really won't have much impact. Therefore, being the government they are, they'll go and spend more. And our argument is only spend money if it's well targeted, if it's focused, well targeted, and it's going to stimulate jobs growth.
But you say that. But this week Malcolm Turnbull's been out making promises and making commitments about spending. Whatever we do...
Where was that?
Well, he did that up in Cessnock. Where
In Cessnock? What, for a swimming pool or something like that?
$1.6 billion for the F3 to Branxton
And
link.
if it is infrastructure, as I said, if it's infrastructure and well spent, but if it's, pink bats in homes, more than $3 billion of pink bats, that's money not well spent.
Well, if we can address the longer-term issues,
most of them
such
being
as,
imported,
such as climate change,
imported.
That's not true. Such as climate change and infrastructure, at the same time as we're dealing with the global financial crisis, and that's a bonus.
You may have missed Malcolm Turnbull talking about that, Joe, but certainly you wouldn't have missed Peter Costello overnight too. He's having a fair bit to say.
Well, he's entitled to a view.
Why?
Why?
He sits on the back bench.
Australia
he sits on the back bench. And
backbenchers are, I can tell you, they're entitled to views.
He doesn't do much.
Peter makes some very good points. This mob inherited...
He sounds as though he's wasted on the back benches.
Koshy, you can have him a regular on the show. I mean, I've seen finance people become good journalists and good people in morning TV. It's amazing what you can do.
Is this part of his campaign?
A suggestion. Peter to replace Joe on the show. I think Peter might want to replace someone else, Malcolm, rather than
this
you,
is what
Joe.
we call a weapon of mass distraction.
And
is that
Peter
what
Costello
Peter is?
certainly...
No. Don't start. You know what? He's absolutely right. He together with Malcolm Turnbull and I, at the beginning of last year, kept warning...
He wants to bring back work choices. He wants to do nothing about climate change. If you listen to him last night, you'd think nothing went wrong over the period in which he was Treasurer.
Well, I tell you what,
nothing went wrong.
I tell you one thing.
There's a reason
when
why
we had the
you're
Asian
the
financial
opposition.
crisis and Australia had the fastest growing economy in the world,
You're going to compare that with the global recession,
down,
are you?
we were talking it up. And now we have a world financial crisis. Australia still has one of the fastest growing economies, be contracted growth, in the world, but your mob are talking it down. Stop talking it down.
You said last March that there'd be, we would have a recession.
Yes,
you said
absolutely.
it last March.
And how prescient that was.
Talking it down.
If you had to listen to me, last March, mate, if you had to listen to me last March, I tell you what, Australia may not be going down this path today.
We have taken action since last March. Since last March,
November,
everything that we've done, you've opposed.
All right, can we end it on a cute photo?
A cute photo.
Lovely photo.
Well, that counts us out.
Absolutely. I didn't say it was of you. One of the women's magazines got a photo of two of the most important ladies in Joe's life. Melissa and Adelaide. Oh, they're gorgeous.
Oh, they're cute.
Thank God Adelaide looks like a mother. It's fitting image.
Absolutely.
Melissa says, some days my husband and I... That's you. So I wish I didn't have to rush around now and make sure I get lunch on time.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
can I tell you, we're in a routine with the kids, but it's failed miserably in the last 48 hours.
All right, Anthony, your turn to bring in Happy Snaps next week.
I will do my best.
Okay, done.
Good on you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
See you
See you later.
it is 16 minutes past 7. Well, from Peter Costello to Mike